So now let's look into the second process of our biomass conversion into fuel, which is biochemical process. In our last lecture, we have tried to understand thermochemical process where heat is really required, and it is not very comfortable to be used at household levels or even in villages levels. You require a proper industrial setup for this kind of conversion of converting biomass into a useful fuel, in presence of temperature, because wherever you use temperatures, then there is a risk of accident. At the same time, you are burning such biomass will produce some certain toxic gases, which is again to be handled very carefully, so it doesn't able to use it at village level. It has to be an industry which can able to convert your biomass into useful fuel by using thermochemical process. So today we'll look into biochemical process, which is very easy, and you can also and it has been well proven in village levels as well, and people have been using very regularly. If you see all your alcohol production in villages, or biogas production or gobar gas production in villages, it has been done through this biochemical processes. So this is very cheap and very useful manner to convert your biomass into a useful byproducts, which are either in form of gas, solid, and even and liquid. Okay, so we'll first consider anaerobic digestion in this process. So anaerobic digestion is where you decompose your biomass. Okay, biomass, which is nothing but human and animal waste, in absence of air, by using bacteria. So you basically decompose your biomass, okay, in absence of air, by using a bacteria. So you don't have to do anything. You have to just mix your waste. You have to mix with bacteria, okay, and you have to just see to it that there is no oxygen into it. Okay, so you just avoid to do it in normal air. You can do it below the ground. Okay, so if you see, this is where your gobar gas plants are being used. So I don't know if you have seen gobar gas plants in your villages. Gobar gas plants are nothing but you have a big hole which has been dug into your ground, and you put your waste into it. You put certain bacteria, normal, even the waste itself contains bacteria. Human waste as well as animal waste contains bacteria into it. So you just cover it, okay, uh, with your bio waste, and then you cover it with a soil, so that no gas molecules goes into it or no oxygen goes into it, and slowly the process will start. The bacteria will start converting or start breaking down this biomass into a biogas, which is nothing but contains 65% of methane and 35% of carbon dioxide. So it's very useful. Biomolecules are very very useful material, where it can easily convert your biomass into a useful biogases. Okay, so this process is been done in nature, in the stomach of your cow. A cow, in Vedas, Vedas is a science which was been used in our ancient times, where Vedas has clearly written that cow is the most useful animal on this earth planet. Why? Because the digestion system it has, the natural digestion system it has, it is so useful that whatever waste that it releases, okay, it is an useful biofuel. If you just consider the solid waste that it extracts, it's gobar, and if you dry gobar, it is it has very useful content into it, that it can be used for many purposes. For example, a dried gobar can directly burn it. It is a burning fuel. You can use that gobar and do this anaerobic digestion, and you can convert into methane gas. Okay. At the same time, gobar is very useful even as a fertilizer. Because people don't use a fertilizer. You just use gobar into your soil, and your crops is fantastic. It's like, it can grow very fast. It gives very high quality of your crops. So that means that, it is a very useful digestion system on this. And even when cow release gas, it is mainly a pure methane gas. So, uh, again, it is very useful for this. So it has uh, very useful digestion system. Even the urine part, urine has contains a lot of minerals as well as a lot of useful thing into it. It can cure. It can use also as a medicine for several diseases. So in nature, cow has the best digestion system, which converts your biomass into a useful bioproducts, which can be used as a fuel as well as a medicines for curing the diseases. Okay. So same thing can also be done outside, but in less efficient manner, which is called as anaerobic digestion. So here you just take all your organic matters, which is waste, which contains carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. Okay, and this carbohydrates, fats, and proteins have been broken by hydrolysis reaction. Hydrolysis is nothing but hydro is water, and lysis is nothing but breaking down. So you use water to break down this proteins and carbohydrates into glucose, fatty acids, and amino acids. And this is all been done by using bacteria. Okay, we don't have to do anything. Later on, this fatty acids and amino acids, where acidogenous reaction take place, and this is again done by certain kind of bacteria which does only this kind of acidogenous reactions, where you break glucose molecules. Okay, glucose which has been generated in the previous hydrolysis reaction, glucose molecule into a volatile fatty acids and alcohols. So alcohol again, it's a useful liquid biofuel. Later on, this fatty acid is been again broken down by acidogenous reactions, again by a certain kind of bacteria which just do this kind of reactions, and it converts your fatty acids and alcohol into hydrogen, carbon dioxide, and ammonia, which is later on in methanogenous reaction it converts into methane and carbon dioxide. So all these four kind of different reactions is been done through your bacteria. So you have to just mix your biomass, which is composed of proteins and carbohydrates, and there is a certain steps. There are four steps which goes on, and all these carbohydrates, fats, and proteins is been in the end converted into methane gas. Okay, a biogas which is composed of methane and CO2. So I don't know if you have seen the gobar glass plants, where you have a big hole which has been dug up, and it's a chamber actually, basically below the ground, and you just fill all your biomass, or human waste or the animal waste into it, and from that chamber there is a pipe that comes out which contains all the gases, mainly methane gases, and this pipe is directly been attached to your kitchen stove, and through that kitchen stove you can cook your food. Okay. So, and other important thing is that the waste or the remains, the byproduct that has been remained after the removal of this gas is very rich in carbon, and it is used as a fertilizer. All your organic manure, it's been produced through this anaerobic digestion. It's a very useful kind of solid waste which can be used as a fertilizer for the agriculture purposes. So everything is been useful here. So you just use a biomass, you used human. Actually, it's a waste. What we call as waste. We just flush it through our toilet and it goes out. But that waste has been collected in that gobar gas plant, and through the bacteria you convert it into biogas, which is used as a cooking purposes. At the same time, you whatever the solid waste that have been remained, you can use that as a fertilizer. So again, there's nothing has been wasted here. So this is the process that I'm talking in terms of chemical equations. You can see that here the large molecule, which is in terms of glucose and protein, which is, let's say, AB, is, and this is H2O. So it has been broken down by hydrolysis reaction, where you H2O splits AB. Okay, this is the process which take place, and later on, this is AOH is nothing but all glucose. Okay, and amino acids and fatty acids. This has been converted into ethonic or butonic acid by acidogenic and acetogenic reactions by bacteria. Okay, by certain bacteria, which converts into alcohol, and this alcohol by methanogenesis reactions converted into methane gas and carbon dioxide, which has been directly been utilized. Okay, so you can see it is the main reaction is this. The overall reaction is this one. It's just converting glucose into your methane gas and carbon dioxide. Okay, you can see the efficiency of this. It has 90% of this efficiency. That means that 90% energy which is been stored in glucose is been released in form of methane. So highly efficient reaction. Don't have to worry about anything. You just mix it, put it below the ground, see to it that there is no oxygen goes into it, and that's it. You can convert all your glucose into your methane gas. So for Indian purposes, villagers, I think so, government has to put lot of efforts and see to it that all the cattles that have been there and the waste that has been produced through this cattle is being used in these gobar gas plants. So where the villagers or the house will become self-efficient. There is self-sustainable. There is no matter of taking any kind of gas cylinders from outside or gas lines from outside. They can produce their own gas, and which can be used for your cooking and heating purposes. Because in villages, mostly most energy that has been required is for cooking and heating. They don't use any kind of sophisticated electronic devices, for them, like for example ACs or geysers and other things. So where in cities we use a lot of energy in ACs and geysers and refrigerators. In villages they don't use much of this. So the main consumption of energy is only in heating and cooking. So this can solve their purposes. This is the how your anaerobic digester looks like. As I've told you that it contains a big chamber below the ground. Okay, this is a big chamber below the ground, and you just put your feedstock of your biomass through this, and you have certain microorganisms, bacteria. See to it that there's no air goes into it, only the biomass that goes into it. So you reaction that takes place, and it is continuously producing biogas, and this biogas has been directly connected to your kitchen, and you can use it directly. At the same time, the solid waste that has been removed, which is nothing but an organic manure. Okay, it's a fertilizer, and this organic manure can be directly used in agriculture to produce to increase the productivity of your crops. Okay, so everything is useful here. Now let's look into liquid biofuels. Okay, this was mainly gas and solid biofuels in biochemical process. Now let's try to understand how liquid biofuel can be generated by using biochemical processes. It's a very useful kind of process where you can able to produce two main liquid biofuel. One is bioethanol, another one is biodiesel. What is the difference? Bioethanol is being produced from sugar. Okay, so it is a nothing but fermentation. I don't know if you know that all your alcohol, or your alcoholic beverages have been produced through fermentations of biomass. Even beer, whiskey, wine, all this is been done through fermentation process of your bio masses. For example, wine is been produced through grapes. You just ferment the grapes with certain yeast and bacteria, and you can produce very beautiful red wines by using black grapes, while the green grapes is being used to produce white wine. Uh, Beer has been produced through fermentation of barley crops. Similarly, whiskey. So you can see that wherever you contain sugar, in our desi way, what we call as a desi daru, all that those things have been produced through your sugar cane, or even jaggery. Jaggery contains a lot of sugars. Jaggery has been produced from sugar cane. Okay, so it contains a lot of glucose, and by just fermenting jaggery, you can produce it, ethanol. But it is a quite dangerous that sometimes it can also produce methanol, which is toxic to the health. So one has to be very careful in doing it. So wherever you have plants which contain sugar, okay, you can produce bioethanol through it. Okay, so mainly in Western countries people use corn, but we use sugar cane. Okay, for our purposes, this bioethanol is a good replacement for petrol. See, the petrol, the heat of combustion is about 45 megajoules per kg, while for bioethanol it is 30 megajoules per kg. So you can directly replace petrol, which is a fossil fuel, with bioethanol, or at least you can mix petrol with bioethanol, so that the emission, the CO2 emission is been reduced. This has been actually should implemented by the government. In many countries this has been implemented. All your petrol all is been mixed with 20% to 30% of bioethanol. Okay, and it is done through fermentation process. The most important thing one has to understand before using certain crops for production of your bioethanol is what is fossil energy ratio for that crop. The fossil energy ratio is nothing but energy supplied to customer in form of bioethanol divided by fossil energy used. Okay, so if say, let's try to understand what is it. Let's say if I have a big land, okay, and I try to produce sugar containing plant such as sugarcane and corn. Okay, and while production of this crops, I will certainly use certain fossil fuels, because see, I have to bring my seeds, so there the fossil fuel will be used. I have to use tractors to dig my grounds, so there is fossil fuels again being used in digging it. I will use certain fertilizers, or certain insecticides, several other things, so that my crops can grow. I will use pumping of water, and then pumping of water will be again, I will be using electricity, and that electricity comes from fossil fuels. So in the end, while growing a crop, I will use fossil fuels at different stages. So one has to calculate that how much fossil fuels I am using it. Okay, and in the end, the energy or the crops that I am generating, and through that crops, whatever bioethanol that I am generating, okay, is it more than the fossil fuel that I am using during the production or not? You're getting my point. So whatever bioenergy or bioethanol that I am producing, divided by my fossil energy used, okay, during my production, okay, will give me my fossil energy ratio. If this is less than 1, it doesn't make sense, because you are using a lot of fossil fuels, and in the end the energy that is being produced, it is less than the fossil energy that is being used. That means that you are adding up the fossil energy. So That is a problem. So if you just see the fur ratio for, for the three different form of plants in Western countries, people cannot grow sugarcane because sugarcane is again a tropical plant and it cannot be produced in Western countries. So they used corn, and you can see the corn has fur ratio of 1.2. So only you can see that only zero point 0.2 extra that we are producing from the fossil fuels. So we are using nearly about same fossil fuels that we generate the energy in corn. So it is very energy inefficient, but still, governments wants to put lot of amount of energy production through bioethanol. That's the reason they are still producing this corn and producing bioethanol from the corn. Okay. Well, if you see the sugarcane contains lot of sugar into it, lot of glucose into it, and it's a very useful. Okay. So in this, the fur ratio is just 8. So that means that we are actually producing 8 times more energy than we use in form of fossil energy. So whatever fossil energy that we are using, we are producing 8 times more bioethanol. Okay. So, that's the reason I was telling you from the start that India as a country, we are very fortunate that we are able to grow certain crops which are very rich in biofuels. Sugarcane is one of them. It contains huge amount of glucose into it, and while using as a fermentation, it can produce bioethanol 8 times more than the fossil energy that we use in the production of sugarcane. Okay. Then there is a switch grass. Switch grass is the grass that have been used in forests, and you don't need any kind of production waste, and that's the reason it has fur of higher range, which is about 3, because you don't use any kind of fossil fuels actually to grow it. It's a naturally grown grass into the forest, and you just use it. It is rich in glucose, and you can use it to produce your bioethanol out of it. And there's another form of biofuel which is called as biodiesel. The difference from the bioethanol is that it requires oil containing plant, right? Like in bioethanol, you require sugar containing plant, while in biodiesel you require oil containing plant. So oil containing plant like such as even sunflower, groundnut, rape seeds. There are many oil containing plants that have been grown, but that have been used as a vegetable oils for our cooking purpose. You cannot use it as a biodiesel. And this oil containing plant, there is one very useful plant. It's called a Jatropha. It contains the maximum or the highest amount of oil contained, which is 37%. Okay. And where does it grow? It grows in our country. Okay. So it's very, very useful plant which have been grown in tropical region like India. Okay. Which contain 37% of oil, and this oil can be extracted to convert it into diesel. Okay. And here the process that has been done, it is called as trans-esterification process. So if you see, for the liquid biofuel, India is an heaven where you can produce a sugar-rich plant such as sugarcane, which can able to produce bioethanol. At the same time, you can also produce oil-rich plants such as Jatropha, which can useful to produce biodiesel. So you can certainly reduce the pollution that we have been facing. You can just replace the petrol with bioethanol. You can replace diesel with biodiesel. Okay, but the problem with this is that you require a lot of efforts from government, and it should be a lot of efforts being given to, or encouragement should be given to the farmers as well to grow such plants and use it for such kind of biofuels. So now let's try to understand these two process of fermentation and trans-esterification, where bioethanol and biodiesel respectively have been produced. So fermentation is again an anaerobic process where you try to break down glucose, okay, in absence of air. Okay, so it's a similar process that we do it for the anaerobic digestions where you use a bacteria. Here also you use certain kind of yeast, where different kind of yeast. Okay, it will again break down my glucose into with certain kind of chemical reactions, and this glucose has been converted into ethanol and carbon dioxide. So here the bacteria or the yeast that have been used are different from that is been used in your anaerobic digestions. And anaerobic digestion actually it contains whole different kind of biomolecules. It whole lot of different ways that you put into anaerobic digestion. But here in bioethanol process, you see to it that you just put glucose containing plants, which are corn, sugarcane, beet, etc. So you just use those kind of sugar containing plant. You can also use fruits, like oranges, waste oranges and other things which contain sugar into it. And this is able you have to put certain yeast or bacteria into it, and this will hydrolyze my cellulose. Okay, cellulose is actually you can see this is how your glucose molecules look like. It contains cellulose, it contains hemicellulose. You can see these are the fibers. These are bundles of fibers. Okay, these are number of fibers, and within that fiber there is a circular fibers which are cellulose, and the the content that which bind this cellulose is called hemicellulose, and there is also a center wall and the outer wall which is called lignin, and you have to break this. Okay, you have to break each and every cellulose fibers to produce ethanol. So this cellulose fibers has been broken down by using certain yeast and bacteria, okay, to produce your ethanol. So it's all bioprocess, biochemical process, where all your cellulose and hemicellulose and different glucose molecule has been broken down to produce ethanol by using a bacteria. Transesterification is nothing but converting vegetable oil, okay, in presence of methanol and sodium hydroxide as a catalyst, okay, to convert it into biodiesel and glycerin. Okay, you can see this is a vegetable oil. Okay, this is the chemical formula for it, CH2OOR1, and it is composed of three R1 molecules, and methanol and sodium hydroxide. This is methanol and sodium hydroxide has been used as to convert these vegetable oils into biodiesel. So methanol and sodium hydroxide form sodium methoxide plus water, and sodium methoxide, you can see this is sodium and methanol converted into sodium methoxide, and this methoxide and water is been later converts my diglyceride to methyl ester plus glycerin. So this you can see here in this formula that NOH has been react with methanol to produce sodium methoxide and water, and this will react with your one of the branches of your vegetable oil to produce methyl ester, which is this one, and glycerin, which is this one. Okay, so this reaction will goes on and all three branches of vegetable oil is been broken down to produce biodiesel. Okay, and glycerin. So you just separate both these molecules with certain process, and you can use this biodiesel directly as a replacement for your diesel that you use in your car, or even for even in a generator. So it's a very useful transformation of your oil containing plant into your biodiesel byproducts. Let's look at, so now you might be getting all the ideas that with thermochemical process and biochemical process we can produce all three different form of biofuels. One is solid, which can be solid is mainly charcoal or activated carbon, liquid in form of bio oil, biodiesel and bioethanol, while gas will be in form of your methane gas and producer gas. Methane gas is CH4 and producer is H2 and CO. So all these processes by using biomass will able to convert a very useful fuel which can be either be directly used as a fuel to run your vehicles, or you can burn it to produce heat energy and can be used to also for electricity generation. So now let's look into our last part, which is advantage and disadvantage of biomass. The most important advantage of biomass that it is renewable. Okay, and even though it produces carbon dioxide, this carbon dioxide can be recycled in a very short span of time to produce biomass again. So that's the reason it doesn't affect the global warming or the greenhouse gases. Okay, it is just continuously been recycled, and so it is not polluting to the atmosphere. Biomass, as I've told you, it not only gives the fuel, like for an example, in anaerobic digestion, it will not only give me the methane gas, but it will also give me organic manures. And organic manures are very good for farming to give huge increment in the production of your crops. So that is very important for the farmers as well. So even the in biomass you are using actually a bio waste, and this bio waste has been converted into biofuel, and whatever waste that has been remain after the process, even that waste is very useful. Okay, so it's a very good process. Biomass is available anywhere, so there is no need of transportation. You can just use it locally. As I've told you that villages can be directly utilize this thing. We cannot do it in cities, because we need a very huge amount of land as well as huge amount of industry to do such thing. We cannot install it in cities, but villages, this is a very useful process to generate energy, and energy can be generated from the waste. That is the best part of it. You just no need to invest a lot of money. You have waste available, which you just throw it away. You just use that waste and generate energy. Disadvantage, obviously, it contains a lot of water into it, so it is not good to transport it. Biomass, wherever it has been produced, just use it at the same place and generate energy. No need to transport it, because if you transport biomass, then the transportation cost will be much higher than the energy that you produce from biomass. So wherever it has been produced, you just use it. So that is a disadvantage, that you cannot transport much biomass. And that is the reason you cannot bring woods from the villages and burn it in, or use it in cities to generate into bioenergy. Direct combustion of biomass produces smokes and smells, but that's obvious. That is one have to understand. Then biogas plants need a lot of care and maintenance of its successful operation. As I've told you that all the plants that have been used, it is you should be use it very carefully. Mainly the thermochemical processes, where a toxic gas such as tar gases can have been released, and it has to be see to that it has been properly been sealed and put it and been broken down before it has been released into the air. So one has to be very careful about handling the plants which releases such kind of toxic gases. We cannot install biomass plants or biogas plants in urban areas, because we have very limited amount of space available. So that's the reason. So it requires, and mainly all your biomass. The biggest disadvantage is that you require large lands, because to grow biomass. So you cannot do it everywhere, especially in cities. So these are the disadvantages. But if you look at the advantages part of it, and in terms of cost, economic point of view, in terms of environmental point of view, biomass is a best form of energy one can use. Okay, and you don't need to give an extra effort. The nature is already producing it for you. You have to just utilize it. That's it. Okay, so I think one has to also think of putting industries, in terms of energy production from biomass. So this can be one of the very useful way of converting energy from the waste. So one can also take up as a career in this field. So I think that's it. Thank you, and we'll see next time in our next lecture series on wind energy. So stay safe at your home. Goodbye.